7 movements. That is all it took to completely destroy everything I thought I knew about training the human core. And the fitness industry, they don't want you doing any of them. Stay right here, because by the end of this, your entire approach to building a powerful midsection will never be the same again. I want to tell you something that took me over a decade of studying human biomechanics, ancient movement systems, and working with elite combat athletes to finally confirm. The modern gym, with its cable machines, its Smith racks, its guided ab rollers, was not built to make you strong. It was built to make you compliant. Think about that for a second. Every single piece of standard gym equipment is engineered around a fixed linear plane. You push forward, you pull back, you go up, you go down. Clean, predictable, safe, and completely, catastrophically wrong for the way the human body was actually designed to generate force. Here is what the biomechanics textbooks buried in Chapter 9 actually tell us. The core is not a flat wall of muscle you brace and hold. The core is a three-dimensional force transfer system. It was built to rotate, to coil, to resist lateral collapse, to explode from ground contact and send power up the kinetic chain in a spiral. Your ancestors, whether they were sprinting across open terrain, climbing, wrestling prey, carrying uneven loads over difficult ground, they were not doing crunches. They were doing this. And we forgot. Somewhere between the invention of the desk chair and the release of every 5-minute ab circuit on the internet, we lost the movement vocabulary that built the most powerful midsections in human history. That ends today. I'm Dr. Aris Thorne, and here on Primal Unleash, we operate under one standard, the Silverback standard. Modern life makes us soft. Primal movement makes us unbreakable. We don't just lift weight, we reclaim our nature. These 7 movements are not mainstream. Some coaches will call them dangerous, some will call them extreme. I call them honest, because they demand exactly what your body was built to give. Let's get into it. The science of forbidden movement. Before I give you the 7 movements, I need to arm you with something first, the why. Because if you understand why these work, you will never go back to the conventional approach. Here is the central problem with almost every core exercise in mainstream fitness. It targets the superficial layer. The rectus abdominis, the muscle responsible for that six-pack aesthetic, sits on the surface. When you do a crunch, a sit-up, a leg raise with a flat back, you are hitting the surface. You are painting the outside of a house that has no foundation. The movement system that actually holds your spine together, transfers power from your legs into your upper body, and protects you from catastrophic injury, that system lives deep. We're talking about the transverse abdominis, the body's natural weight belt, the internal obliques, the multifidus, the quadratus lumborum. These muscles do not respond to crunches. They do not wake up during a plank. They respond to challenge, to instability, to rotation, to real-world gravitational threat. And this is exactly what elite combat athletes have understood for centuries. Watch a Muay Thai fighter throw a body kick. Watch a wrestler shoot for a double leg. Watch a sprinter drive out of the blocks. That movement does not come from the surface. It comes from the deep rotational core, loaded and released like a coiled spring. The 7 movements I am about to give you were designed to access that spring. They were pulled from a combination of primal locomotion patterns, combat sports conditioning, and applied biomechanics research. And they will build a core that does not just look powerful. It will be powerful. Let's start. Movements 1 and 2, rotational power and lateral stability. Movement 1, the loaded spinal coil. This is where almost every athlete I have ever worked with has their first real moment of awakening. Take a moderate weight dumbbell or a kettlebell. Stand with your feet just outside hip width. Now, and this is critical, you're going to rotate your entire thoracic spine aggressively to one side while simultaneously loading the opposite hip. Think of it like wringing a wet towel from both ends at the same time. The key is not speed. The key is controlled, deliberate torque. You are loading the oblique slings, the diagonal chains of muscle that run from your shoulder across your abdomen to the opposite hip, and you are building explosive coil capacity. Most people have never consciously activated these slings. They've compensated for years with their lower back, their hip flexors, their shoulders. The loaded spinal coil strips away all of that and forces the real engine to wake up. 3 sets, 8 rotations each side. Slow on the coil, explosive on the release. You will feel muscles you did not know you had. Movement 2, the weighted lizard crawl. Now we go to the ground, and we get humbling. The lizard crawl is a movement borrowed from the primal locomotion patterns of some of the most movement-literate athletes on the planet. Add a lightweight vest or hold a dumbbell across your chest, and what was already demanding becomes a completely different conversation. Here is what makes this movement extraordinary. Every single step forces your core to resist lateral collapse under a shifting center of gravity. This is not a static brace. This is dynamic stabilization, the exact kind your body needs to prevent the lower back injuries that plague people who train exclusively in straight lines. 20 feet forward, 20 feet back, 2 rounds. That is your introduction. Do not underestimate it. Movements 3 and 4, suspended tension and spinal decompression. Now we go vertical, and this is where things get deeply satisfying. Movement 3, the hanging archer tuck. Find a pull-up bar. Hang with a full dead hang, shoulders packed, lats engaged, spine long. Now bring both knees towards your chest in a standard tuck position. Here is where it becomes a forbidden movement. Rather than holding the tuck symmetrically, you're going to shift, dropping one knee slightly while driving the opposite knee higher and across the midline. Think of an archer drawing a bow from a hanging position, one arm of the bow long, the other compressed and loaded. What you are doing in that moment is creating simultaneous serratus anterior activation, the muscle that wraps the rib cage and gives fighters that shredded, armored look, combined with an aggressive lower abdominal compression that a standard hanging leg raise will never produce. Hold the archer position for a 3 count. Alternate sides. 8 reps per side. This movement builds armor you can see and feel. Movement 4, the dragon flag variation, offset grip. If you know the dragon flag, you know it is already one of the most demanding core movements in existence. Bruce Lee made it famous for a reason. What most people do not know is that performing the dragon flag with an offset grip, one hand gripping higher than the other on the bench, introduces a lateral gravitational imbalance that simulates real-world force asymmetry. Suddenly, your core cannot rely on perfect bilateral symmetry to get through the movement. It has to problem solve. This is where the deep stabilizers, the ones that protect your spine in real athletic scenarios, are forced to step forward and own the work. Start with 3 controlled descents. No crashing down. The entire value of this movement lives in the controlled, defiant resistance against gravity on the way down. And here is the bonus that nobody talks about. This movement, done correctly, provides genuine spinal decompression. The hanging component, the controlled lengthening under load, your vertebrae thank you for it. Your posture improves. The desk slouch weakness that has been compressing your core for 8 hours a day begins to reverse. Movements 5 and 6, ground-based primitive flow. Now we go back to the ground, but this time we are moving, and the ground will tell you everything about your body's real strength and its hidden gaps. Movement 5, the scorpion reach.
Lie face down, arms extended out to your sides like a cross. Now, drive one heel up and across your body toward the opposite hand. Your hip rotates, your thoracic spine opens, and for one brilliant moment, your body forms a shape that looks exactly like a scorpion's tail curling forward. This movement integrates hip mobility with high-intensity rotational bracing in a single flowing gesture. The obliques fire to control the rotation. The glute of the driving leg activates to generate the reach. The opposite shoulder stays pinned, creating a diagonal opposition that loads the entire posterior chain while demanding spinal rotation. This is not a stretch. This is a strength movement with a mobility benefit embedded inside it. 10 reps per side, slow and deliberate, feeling every degree of rotation. Movement 6, the quadrupedal clock reach. Get into a quadruped position, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, spine neutral. Now imagine a clock face beneath you. You are going to reach one hand to the 12, then to the 3, then to the 9, all while maintaining perfect hip and spine position. No rocking, no collapsing into the supporting shoulder. The opposite leg fires to counterbalance each reach. The deep core stabilizers, the transverse abdominis, the multifidus, work under constant, unrelenting demand across every position on that clock face. This movement has saved the careers of professional athletes. It is the single best movement I know for building the kind of deep core endurance that shows up not in the gym, but in the third quarter of a game, on the fourth hour of a trail run, in the moment when your body is tired and only the real foundation holds. 4 rotations per side. Feel the instability. Own it. Movement 7. Full kinetic integration. And now we close the circle. We take everything we've built, the rotational power, the lateral stability, the suspended control, the ground intelligence, and we stand up and express it as total body force production. Movement 7, the standing pulsing halo. Take a kettlebell or a plate, hold it at chest height. Stand with your feet at shoulder width, knees soft, glutes engaged. Now, you are going to orbit the weight around your head in a slow, controlled circle. But here is the critical element that makes this a core movement rather than a shoulder movement. You do not move your hips at all, not a millimeter. Every revolution of that weight creates a shifting gravitational demand, pulling your entire trunk toward the direction of the load. Your deep core fires constantly and dynamically to prevent any lateral or rotational drift in your hips and spine. This is the bridge between core stability and total body athleticism. This is the movement that tells your nervous system we can generate power in any plane, at any angle, under any load. 5 clockwise revolutions, 5 counterclockwise, 3 sets. By the final rep of the final set, you will understand why this is the keystone of the entire system. Now let me give you the full programming structure, because these 7 movements are not random. They build on each other in a very specific sequence, and that sequence is everything. Here is your forbidden core routine. Run this twice a week as a standalone session or bolt it onto the end of your primary training days. Round 1, foundation. Loaded spinal coil into weighted lizard crawl. Activate the rotational system. Challenge lateral stability. Rest 90 seconds. Round 2, vertical strength. Hanging archer tuck into dragon flag variation. Build the armor. Decompress the spine. Rest 90 seconds. Round 3, ground intelligence. Scorpion reach into quadrupedal clock reach. Integrate mobility with deep stabilization. Rest 60 seconds. Round 4, total expression. Standing pulsing halo. 3 sets. This is your signal to the nervous system that everything you have built is unified and ready. The progressive overload markers are straightforward. Add load to movements 1, 2, and 7 every 3rd week. Increase time under tension on movements 3 through 6 by adding a 1-count hold at the peak of each rep every 2 weeks. When the lizard crawl feels easy with a weight vest, increase the distance, not the load. Do not rush the progression. The movements will reveal your gaps honestly. Respect the process, and the process will transform you. Here is what I want you to take away today, not just the 7 movements, but the mindset underneath them. Modern fitness handed you a machine-guided, linear, surface-level approximation of what strength is supposed to feel like. It was comfortable, it was safe, it was soft. These 7 movements are not comfortable. They are not designed to be. They are designed to be true. Because here on Primal Unleash, we hold ourselves to a different standard. We call it the Silverback standard. Modern life makes us soft. Primal movement makes us unbreakable. We don't just lift weight, we reclaim our nature. Your core was never meant to brace and hold. It was meant to coil, explode, stabilize, rotate, and dominate. These 7 movements give it permission to do exactly that. Now go train. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 7 movements you are testing first. I read every single one. And if you're ready for the next level, the complete Primal movement protocol that takes this system and builds it into a full 12-week program, hit subscribe and stay close. That drops very soon. Until then, stay primal, stay unbreakable.